Hi everyone, Hungry Reader here. Happy birthday! It is your birthday, right? I hope it was, because then that would have seemed amazingly prescient. I've got a birthday book to show you right now, and it's called Row You Are 8. That is the title, right? I mean, look at that. How can that not be an R? Granted, I don't know what that means. Row You Are 8.
Row! You are 8!
Row You Are 8 is a collection of stories and activities to be given as a birthday gift, presumably to an 8-year-old. I guess that would make the name Now You Are 8, but look at that. That is clearly an R. Maybe this book was ghostwritten by John Allen Relson. Published in 1973, Row You Are 8 has some very unusual illustrations. There's a very medieval quality to these illustrations. They almost look like stained glass that's been colored with watercolor. Our first story is The Man Who Changed the Weather, which is about a king who is upset when he can't go for his first swim of the year. Enthralling. Zoe enlists the help of a leprechaun-like fellow named Twitch, who makes a lot of weird malapropisms.
There's nothing wrong with being small. It's being so big and blundering that makes the royal knights miss everything important. You know the old saying, empty cabbages make the most sound.
Teapots.
Quite so, quite so. Empty cabbages make the most teapots. Are you sure that doesn't sound quite right to me?
This story posits that there's a crazy weatherman who controls all the weather all over the world, and when weather gets strange, he's just getting bored and playing with his machine. Don't let the oil companies find this book, or they'll try and put this story into the textbooks. Then there's a brief non-fiction article about Vikings, followed by a nice retelling of the story of King Midas, and then another non-fiction piece about hovercrafts. Because when you're 8 years old, you're ready for hovercrafts. Do you remember the story from the Arabian Nights of the prince who flew on a magic carpet? We all know this is just make-believe, but flying carpets seem nearer reality when you think of the hovercraft. Yes, there are some clear similarities there.
I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid.
Then there's a couple of cute magic tricks for kids. Don't try and put on this magic show at your 8th birthday party. Everyone else will already have looked at this book. Then comes my favorite story of the collection, The Magic Thread. This is about a boy who's in a hurry to grow up. One day, a little old fairy lady comes to him and gives him a magic ball with a thread that when he tugs on it will make the years pass faster. The boy uses the ball to skip through school, having summer vacation after summer vacation, and then one day he gets more impatient and tugs the thread so hard that he becomes a man with a beard and has a wife and children. What's funny to me about this story is it kind of got made into an Adam Sandler movie. Granted, that used a remote control, but it's basically the same story. A man skips so much of his life that he has no memories to look back on. Now here's the funny part. Imagine if you were 8 years old and someone sat you down and said this. Of course you don't believe in dragons, especially the fire-eating sort which breathe flame, yet it is perfectly true that the world was inhabited by giant dragons around 200 million years ago. Although they did not actually breathe fire, they were just as fearsome as any of the dragons in the fairy stories. Yes, somebody thought, well, you're 8 years old, it's about time you learned about dinosaurs. How many dinosaurs could you name when you were 6? Probably 20, right? Here's his description of the theropod dinosaurs. Picture a large crocodile, but with shorter and thicker jaws, measuring 30 feet from snout to tail. Now perched on the tops of 2 enormous hind legs, 10 feet high. Its arms and hands were small but powerful and armed with long claws. I don't think that's necessarily less silly than the actual illustration they put up. Look at this dinosaur standing up and begging for scraps. That makes Grimlock look anatomically correct. There were small dinosaurs as well as giant ones, and some were no bigger than modern lizards, but they have left no descendants on Earth today. That's right, no descendants at all, except for millions and millions and millions of birds. All the dinosaurs died out about 60 million years ago. 60 million? This book is 5 million years old! Then there's a page of factoids. Here are some surprising facts with which you can amaze your friends. The largest and heaviest animal in the world is the blue whale. Oh yeah, your friends certainly don't know that. Also surprise them by telling them that the whale isn't really a fish. The longest sausage ever recorded was 3,124 feet long. I find that sausage kind of nauseating to look at. Next comes another fairy tale. This one too has a sort of Scandinavian feel to it. It's called Bukola the Cow. And it's about a man going to rescue his magic cow from trolls. The cow has the amazing ability to pull hairs out of her tail and turn them into giant rivers and fires and stuff. That seems like it might be a lot more valuable than being able to make milk, but... Now comes some historical fiction. This one is called The Prince Escapes. And they don't actually use the name, but this is the story of Bonnie Prince Charlie. Now, I'm a Stuart myself. I'm next in line after my father to the crown of Scotland. After everyone that he's next in line after. And finally, for the big finish, caring for your pets. A short non-fiction article about the kind of pets you could keep, like ducks or geese or rabbits or frogs or giraffes. Unfortunately, I live in California and it's illegal to keep a giraffe here. But you know, as soon as you get to the Nevada border, there's all those giraffe pet stores. It is much better to keep a happy goldfish than an unhappy Alsatian. No, when I read this book, I had no idea what an Alsatian was. I thought it was a kind of person. This book put some weird ideas in my head when I was a kid.